With TBC anniversary quite literally around the corner, people have been asking the time-old question. Are we all gonna try to sprint through TBC anniversary just like the whole community has been clamoring to speed through anniversary? Now, if you haven't been paying attention, there's a lot of people that have been calling classic anniversary a TBC waiting room. We're just waiting for TBC. Nobody cares about anniversary for the 6th time. We just want to go play something new and fresh, even though we just did TBC back in 2021. There's a lot of people that have just been trying to blitz through the content to get to the version that they prefer. Which begs the question that as soon as TBC anniversary drops, is it gonna start getting called the Classic Plus waiting room or the Wrath of the Lich King anniversary waiting room? And at that point, are we devaluing the entire Classic WoW experience to get to a version we prefer, just to get mad when people do that same thing to our preferred version and criticize and demean the version we've come to love? So let's take a couple steps back. When they first announced Classic Anniversary, the SOD player base was quite mad at that because they're like, why on earth would you announce Anniversary in SOD? Phase 7, Phase 8, all this content's here, and people are trying to play Anniversary now instead? And then as SOD died, everybody was like, see, Classic Anniversary is more popular than SOD. More players are playing Anniversary. That proves that SOD was not a good game. And now throughout Anniversary, the whole time people have been saying AQ40 is going to kill the game. I even made a video about this because throughout most of Anniversary and most of Classic's lifetime, AQ has been the dreaded phase. A long raid, a lot of trash, all little problems and issues. So people have just been saying that AQ is going to kill Anniversary. And then we're going to see the player numbers plummet. They're going to rush to TBC, yada yada yada. And it turns out that the Anniversary player base loved Anniversary. Truly and utterly, they did not give a shit. AQ didn't tank the player base. AQ didn't do shit all. The people kept playing throughout AQ, and now they're just as hyped for Nax. And Nax will have a drop off towards the end of expansion. That's just very normal. There's nothing special about that. It's not Anniversary's fault. A lot of people realize that they're going to end up getting transferred to TBC. They don't know if they're getting a clone service to Era. So that's going to be a different situation all in all. So with TBC Anniversary coming, by the end of Phase 1, are we all going to be repeating TBC's dead? Nobody cares. SSC and TTK are going to kill the game. No one's going to be playing those. By the time Black Temple and Sunwell roll around, dead game. Too hard. People are bad. They're just going to wait for Wrath of the Lich King when it becomes super easy. Easy Nax, right? But if that happens, the question I'm trying to get through to here is, why does the player base try to skip through the content? Instead of enjoying and playing it, why is the whole identity and the whole experience about, fuck this, give me what I want, I don't care that you in particular are enjoying this piece of content, I think you're wrong and I hate you for enjoying yourself. For example, Mr. Pandaria, I have been a big advocate for shitting on it, right? I'm not a fan of Mr. Pandaria. It's neither retail and it's neither classic. It's this weird amalgamation, an abomination of a game. And then after Mr. Pandaria is Warlords of Draenor classic. Is that even classic? It's this whole issue and situation where people are hating other versions because they want their version, their priority, their thing to take precedence. And that's not how it works, because these are all games made for different audiences. A large portion of the Classic Anniversary player base may truly be waiting for TBC. But with how we've been treating the Anniversary player base and how the online discourse has been like, terrible game, we're all quitting, nobody wants this. Why? Why are we like this? Back in 2019, nobody was saying, I can't wait for TBC. They were excited, but nobody wanted Classic WoW to end. They were enjoying Classic WoW for Classic WoW. They loved it and adored it. Now, the community is very split down the middle. I love Anniversary, fuck TBC. I love TBC, fuck Anniversary. I just want Wrath again, fuck all of this. I don't want any of this, I just want Classic Plus. Classic Plus isn't real, it's just SOD 2. You see the whole discourse I'm getting at. And being completely real, as soon as TBC drops, huge amounts of hype. Everyone's going to dive in, have a blast. Phase 1's going to be popping off. Maybe 200, 250,000 active raiders. Because, you know, Karazhan, Crypts and all that stuff. Like, it's much easier. Gruul is 2 bosses. Magtheridon's Lair is 1 boss. You have just very small, condensed experiences. But then at the end of Phase 1, I think it's going to go through an even worse decline than Anniversary, because Anniversary peaked at 105,000. At Nax, it's at 75k. That's a very minimal decline from its peak. It's maintained a very healthy player base the entire time through. I think TBC is going to have a huge drop-off point solely because the funnest part, the best part about Classic WoW is doing the pre-raid bis, right? Like grinding your pre-raid bis, doing your dungeons, everyone spamming to 70, doing all your heroic dungeons, getting your achievements, going into Karazhan, getting your phase, getting your tier 4, getting all that stuff condensed, this huge fun experience. Because once SSC and TTK drops, that's when the game starts to get harder, more difficult, more convoluted, where guilds have to get their shit together. There's no more just, getting together and lollygagging. Once the difficulty starts spiking, player base starts dropping off, realistically. And I think a lot of people rushing and clamoring and hoping Anniversary dies faster so we can get to TBC, I think a lot of those people are just going to stop playing because they got their fill of the game mode, and now they're just going to wait for, they're going to go to Midnight WoW or something else, or take a break till Classic Plus getting announced at BlizzCon. Because keep in mind, TBC drops very late this year or very early next year. At BlizzCon 2026, everybody's expecting a big Classic Plus announcement. So a lot of people are treating everything like a waiting room for the next thing. It's only retail players, if I'm being real, that are enjoying the game for what it is, right? Season 3, Legion Remix. I'm taking a break and enjoying this. I'm going to come back for the War Within. I'm going to come back for Midnight WoW Season 1. They play the game in a way where they're treating the game as an experience in preparation for the next experience. Whereas the classic player base is treating everything else like a waiting room for their preferred version. They're treating the game like a stopgap, as in, I don't care about anything except my own version. And it's a very selfish mindset, a very selfish mentality. And you can even see this in the economy, in the way people play, in the way people clamor for their version. For example, the GDKP issue. I'm not a fan of GDKPs. Initially, I was against it. But being real, I think they should make one server that's GDKP and one server that's not a GDKP. I think that would have solved a lot of the player discourse and made people happier. The big problem here when it does come to the classic player base is they think their version is correct and everybody else is completely incorrect. We can even look at private servers. Some people think TWoW is too slow, too this, too archaic, too old. And it's not the right Classic Plus experience. The new content's great, the new zones, dungeons, raids, amazing. But I would rather prefer something like Epoch or Bronzebeard and something else that's more fast-paced, more retail-y, more quality of life heavy. And you see this discourse on how no matter which version of the game you look at, everybody treats everything else like it's wrong. It's completely incorrect. That's the wrong version and you're wrong for liking it. Look at Mr. Pandaria. I made a video recently talking about the tragic decline of Mr. Pandaria, right? It didn't even peak very high, and it's already hemorrhaging 20-30,000 new players a week. It's not growing, it's slowly shrinking. Not because Mr. Pandaria is a bad version, but who was it really made for? The classic audience isn't the Mr. Pandaria audience, the Mr. Pandaria audience isn't the retail audience. In fact, there was a comment on my Discord that recently said, I'm playing Mr. Pandaria because I just don't care about retail, and I don't want to play Anniversary for the 6th time. So I'm playing Mr. Pandaria. It's not ideal, but that's what I'm choosing with. That's what I'm sticking with. And you see how the player base across the board is so fractured and divided that everything sucks ass. And the only way to really feel good about my version is to shit on other versions. It's become this negative clusterfest of the best news, the only fun topic to talk about is shitting on Blizzard and shitting on their decisions. Because the game isn't designed the way I want it to be. The game isn't done the way I need it to be. So Blizzard is a shitty company and they deserve the absolute worst happening to them. Now don't get me wrong, Blizzard isn't in the clear here. The classic dev team had 10 employees for like 6 years. It was only at the end of SAR that they got more employees. It took them 6 years to get budget to hire more people. And that's not the classic dev team's fault, it's Blizzard's proper's fault. Or I guess Activision's fault, because now Microsoft wrote the check to get them more employees. Long story, it doesn't really matter too much. You see this issue here where it's always a blame game of the reason WoW sucks now is because you Anniversary Classic players begged for more Classic, more Anniversary, and now the game's dead. Or Anniversary is dying because y'all are rushing for TBC, let us have our game. Or Anniversary is not even a real version of Classic. You guys added these balance changes, you did this, you added this, dual spec, you added the rank 14, the PvP changes. That's not Classic, that's a fake Classic, it's a bad game. It's such a divisive community that it's very hard for there to be any positive discourse because everybody hates everyone else's version. Content creators are also a big problem of this, right? For the longest time, the only way you really got views in the Classic space was shitting on Classic, or the other versions of Classic, was being hateful or negative. For example, when I used to make positive videos, I would get 5, 10k views. Oh, Eben made a good video talking about Classic plus this or Classic plus that. I make one negative video, 40,000 views. And you see this in other people's videos as well. It's easy to be negative because people love to clamor around negativity. Keep in mind, the people that are loudest online are typically the people that are the most negative because they're the people that feel most vocal about their experiences. People having fun aren't talking, they aren't saying shit. They're sitting there and actually playing the game. They're sitting there and enjoying their experience. They're sitting there and enjoying the vibe in the world. There's a shit ton of Mr. Pandaria players playing Mr. Pandaria. There's a shit ton of anniversary players that are playing. They aren't raiding, they're not on Twitter, they're not on the forums, they're not on YouTube. They're just playing the game. And the TBC waiting room crowd? It could be absolutely minuscule. It could be a very loud minority. TBC could open up to less players than anniversary's having. I doubt that to be real, but it could happen. So the issue here is that TBC is very likely going to suffer the same negative fate as Classic Anniversary because as soon as it's out, and the first 36 days of positivity and guides and everybody being happy, gung-ho fades out, immediately the negativity is going to come out. The anger, the frustration, the vitriol. TBC is dying. TBC is dead. People just want Classic Plus. It's time to quit and move on. They've ruined the Classic experience. It's just a big issue, and it's not the player base's fault. And to a degree, it is Blizzard's fault. I don't blame the Classic devs, and a lot of people like to blame them for everything. Yes, they could have done things better for Mob's launch or Cataclysm's launch or some of the bugs or issues that happened. They're not faultless. But putting all the blame at them is kind of like incorrect, because we should be blaming Blizzard as a company, Microsoft as a company, and not the individual developers. Regardless, there's a lot of issues at hand. But we need to stop the negativity, and I'm gonna be real, this video isn't gonna do shit. It's not going to change the discourse, it's not going to change the conversation. It's just simply what it is. TBC waiting room is going to become Wrath and Classic Plus waiting room. And then it's going to be, oh my god, I can't believe SSC and TK killed the game. We told people it was going to happen. I predicted this months ago. People are stupid. They think they want a TBC, but they don't. You think you do, but you don't. And the issue is we do. But there's so many different groups that half of them don't. Nonetheless, if you like this shitty ass video, like and subscribe. If you hated it, understandable. Dislike and subscribe and become a dedicated hater. We don't half-ass hate on this channel, we full-ass it. Thank you all for watching. Ebonheart out. Peace.